the FBI's corruption trial into college basketball is underway, is Arizona's Sean Miller in serious trouble? Is it already the beginning of the end of a new era for Arizona football? And if cancer-causing contaminated water is safe to drink, then Tucson water leaders should drink it. The 520 starts now. Welcome to the 520. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Artie Mata IV. Thanks for joining us.
No Jersey.
You know what?
You could right now take advantage of laying it on me. I guaranteed an Arizona victory over USC. You could have brought crow on a platter, and I would be eating it right now. And I guarantee you that.
I would like to abstain because I am a respectful fan, and you can't win them all, Steve.
Respectful?
After I celebrated on Saturday, of course. Hey, it's okay.
I was expecting your call, and I was still going to hang up on you.
I respect it.
All right. On a serious note, that FBI investigation cloud that hung over McHale Center last year, it's back again.
And it's dark.
And it's not Tropical Storm Rosa. It's the real deal. Ready to get started?
There he's at.
All right, let's do this, man. The first trial tied to the FBI's investigation into corruption in college basketball dragged Arizona right into the spotlight on day one. Could Sean Miller's future at Arizona be in serious trouble? Well, during opening statements, former Adidas executive Jim Gatto's attorneys admitted he was involved in trying to pay top recruit Nasir Little more than $150,000 he says Arizona was going to pay or offer to pay Little to play for Arizona, a Nike school. Gatto's attorney argues he broke NCAA rules but did not break federal law. Now, the attorneys did not mention Sean Miller by name, but as we know, the buck starts at the top, it ends at the top.
And it only screams absolutely bad news because of Book Richardson's involvement, and he's going to conduct a choir in that interrogation room. But we have to at least give the handoff to Sean Miller. He really swung for the fences and trying to wipe his hands clean, but it's either going to...
His hands are still clean so far.
And so here's the thing is that he swung for the fences, his hands continue to stay clean, or he gives up a career he already poisoned.
Well, let's not forget that he did sign a contract worth $1 million to say if he's implicated in this, he owes the University of Arizona $1 million. But as far as the defense of Adidas and Gatto, and what they're doing, I honestly think they have opened up a huge hole in the FBI's investigation. The defense is now not trying to admit innocence. They actually admitted, yeah, we are trying to pay players, but so is everyone else. I mean, they're painting a picture that the entire system are cheats, from the coaches to the players' families, to the shoe companies, Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, to agents and everyone involved, the NCAA included. They all have their hands in the cookie jar, and they're all making money from it.
And we can't
so how
sit
can there
here.
Be fraud?
We can't sit here and act like that that absolutely justifies anything. It's the equivalent to I pull Steve over on the I-10. Steve says, we all speed on the I-10, sir. You can't pull me over and cite me for this. I say, well, guess what? I pulled you over. This is your crime to pay for.
Okay, but if I'm a state legislator in Arizona, I have legislative immunity. So guess what? The law does not apply equally. And so, good analogy, but it doesn't fit exactly what we're talking about here. Here's why. Because the defense is also claiming that the schools work closely with the NCAA on understanding and knowing the rules of violations within each college and when it comes to recruiting. Well, guess what? When everyone's doing it, how can that be fraud, though? And I think because of that, it's poked a huge hole in the FBI's investigation to try to nail down and charge the Adidas executives with a federal crime.
And it's all messy, it's all sloppy, but they're not going to abolish college basketball.
They're not.
So who's going to be the egg that gets cracked into the skillet?
Here's what happens. Maybe it's not a crime federally, but the NCAA still has a final say in handing down sanctions to all of the universities that are mentioned and involved in this FBI investigation.
And that's what we're worried about.
That's where Sean Miller should be worried about. Exactly. All right. Well, Coach Kevin Sumlin showed frustration after the Wildcats' late fourth quarter comeback came up short, losing to USC 24-20. But who should be more frustrated, Sumlin or the fans who bought into the promise for a new era? Well, former Heisman hopeful Khalil Tate looked unenergized, ineffective, and once again got outplayed by this guy right here, J.T. Daniels, USC's true freshman quarterback. Tate held in check for nearly 3 quarters, ended up with 232 yards, but in the air, but only completed 16 of 33 passes. Daniels finished 16 of 24 for 197, but commanded his team. Overall, the Trojans dominated the predictable Wildcats on the field and on the sidelines. And that right there is one of the best highlights that we saw on Saturday.
That's a family member out there.
That
Stanley
happens to be a
Berryhill.
cousin, yeah.
I see him at Thanksgiving. I was going crazy. My Facebook timeline was going crazy. Shouts out to Stan. Great choice for going to the University of Arizona.
He took all the athletic ability
eyes.
in the family. Huh?
It's okay. Don't worry about it. Let me just say, though, as I celebrated on Saturday and decided to abstain to not call Steve and serve him a nice pipe and flip that 320 degrees
I have my
plate
do
of crow.
not disturb
Of course he did.
call on.
Let me just say that towards the falling action of that game, both teams looked absolutely sloppy. It looked
Snitched
like
you out to the Attorney General.
It looked like 2 intoxicated females fighting over a boy outside of a dive bar. Absolutely sloppy. Everyone was playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And while Steve's laughing, let me just say that I think that might be Arizona's biggest kryptonite. Playing not to lose instead of playing to win. That's kind of been what's effective from the Rich Rodriguez era and the Stoops
honestly,
era.
they're not playing to win right now. There's no energy.
Of course.
There's nothing going on but the rent. I mean, honestly, the stadium lights are on, but I don't think there's a whole lot of flash going on right now between Kevin Sumlin's ears, because I'm just seeing nothing out there. I mean, just lackadaisical.
Of course.
And there doesn't seem to be
Undisciplined
a really good game plan. They're just, you know, hey, we scripted the first 15 plays, so we got to stick to it, regardless of what the defense is doing. And there's no energy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, think about it, though. Arizona only rushed for what? 98 yards on 37 carries. That's 2.6 yards per carry. That's not a game plan.
That's not a game plan. You can't work off that staircase, none of that. And that's where I think this comes into play with Kevin Sumlin. We're about to find out his true colors because now he's down and out. First he was just out, now he's down and out. I think he's got to be able to take a little bit more risks on the field. It looks like they got absolutely spooked against BYU after the first 2 drives. So he's got to take a little more risks, throw a little more 50-50 balls, and execute.
Bottom line, only just over 43,000 people showed up to a game against USC. Arizona better start winning, because this season is going down fast. Fans not showing up to a big game like that.
And my message to the fans, guys,
pathetic.
Relax. It's been 1 year.
All right, looking
Relax.
ahead to Game 6 on Saturday against the Cal Bears. The 3-1 Cal coming to Arizona, playing the 2-3 Wildcats. That game, kickoff, 7 o'clock, airs on Fox Sports 1. I've got the Wildcats still
Of course.
winning. As you know, I cannot go against my Wildcats. I have them winning 30-27, right there.
And as far as me, Steve, I'm a little bit more of a realist. And I finally got to start being real with these Wildcats. I'm picking the Cal Golden Bears because they're actually playing good. Ross is playing good football, and Tate is not playing good football. I got 41-35. It's going to be a bit of a barn burner towards the middle of the game, but the Cal Golden Bears will come out on top.
Sumlin has to find a way to energize Tate, limit him to short, quick passes. Why? Because Cal's DBs, Antoine Davis and Jalen Hawkins, have 5 INTs between them. They have to move quick and with energy.
And
Bottom line,
I tell them
act like you want to be out there.
That's first off. Second off, don't be afraid to rely on the run game. J.J. Taylor is fantastic. He could be the backbone. let Tate's success piggyback off of Taylor's success.
Come on, Sumlin. You've got to do better than this, man. All right, well, it may be Pima Community College's last year of football, but why is the program already being left for dead? The Aztecs are off to a 3-1 start, including an upset win over 4th-ranked Scottsdale Community College. The players are still playing for pride and possibly a scholarship to a Division I school, but the stands are empty and the media is ghost. Nowhere to be found. Good for the kids.
Good for the kids. I'm absolutely so proud of every single one of them, including the head coach. But I've always had a bone to pick with Pima because Tucson is not a city that junior college football can thrive on. You're used to Yuma, Arizona, Thatcher, Arizona. Those are the types of cities that can support and get behind a junior college football program, and that's probably why Pima kind of went up in the air and they fell down like a Zeppelin. Now they're 3-1 and the city doesn't seem to be excited about them for any reason.
Bottom line is, it's their last season of football. Pima Community College, in financial dire straits, could not come up with $500,000 to save the football program and to provide an opportunity for all of these students to get an education. Many of them who otherwise would not be able to not only play football at a junior college, but get a junior college education. So I think it's a travesty because $500,000 is not near the value of an education for 100 kids who are playing junior college football.
And it's a shame that the administration couldn't come to that same realization.
Come on, man. They just spent over $1 million knocking down an old hotel to build a new resource center. Really? Shame. Unbelievable. Well, it's time now for Rapid Fire. I fire off a topic with a local sports connection. Artie fires right back at me with a rapid response. And keep in mind, Artie doesn't know what I'm going to fire at him.
I'm in it.
You ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, Sean Miller says Ira Lee will face, quote, some type of disciplinary action for his super extreme DUI arrest in August. For now, he says the U of A is helping the sophomore basketball forward work through his issues, but no discipline.
I think a suspension should be on the line for him. A multiple game suspension, about 10 games. And when we're working through his troubles and issues, what's working through? Is he actually seeing some sort of help, or are they just making sure he has a better curfew?
Look, Sean Miller already has a cloud hanging over McHale Center. Just say it right now. Hey, Ira Lee is going to be suspended for 2 games, 3 games, and move on. End of story. The media backs off, right?
Of course, that's all we need.
Well, U of A's 2019 commit Grant Gunnell completed 43 of 59 passes for 506 yards and 6 TDs in his last high school game. He also ran 17 times for 56 yards. Should Khalil Tate be worried next year?
He should be absolutely worried because there's a stable of quarterbacks to begin with. There's the Tucson native Jamari Joyner. There's that kid that they got from the South. And then now we got Gunnell here. So, yes, he should be absolutely worried, especially because these are Kevin Sumlin's boys now.
You're right on the pronunciation. It's Gunnell. Guess what? He already has over 2,200 yards and 25 TDs in 5 games. Pro-style quarterback. Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Rapido, right?
I like it.
Well, the Cardinals have dropped Sam Bradford to 3rd string behind Rosen and Mike Glennon. That means Bradford is losing $312,000 each week he doesn't play.
He earned it. He earned it. That's all I can say. I don't even know why they threw the kitchen sink at Sam Bradford to begin with, more or less because no one else was there to deserve that money.
That saves the Cardinals about $4 million if he's 3rd string.
Should have saved him a lot more.
You're right. Well, Arizona women's volleyball team is expected to move up to number 21 now after doing something it hasn't done in 8 years. Sweep the Oregon schools on the road, including the 12th-ranked Ducks. Dave Rubio finally getting the Wildcats up on the board, ranked,
of course,
winning.
And anytime David takes down Goliath in college sports, there's a matter of continuation, a question mark over continuation, and I think that the Cats volleyball team is here to do that.
Always on the brink, they just can never get over that hump. All right, well, did you know U of A women's soccer midfielders Amanda Porter and Kelsey Cavara led Columbine High School to a state title in 2014? Is that an omen for them to lead Arizona to a title?
I say they're in the running for it. Those girls do a fantastic job on the field, and a majority of the Pac-12 is in a bit of a reconciliation period. U of A's on their way up, a lot of their contemporaries on their way down.
Wait, just so you know,
good news for them.
Eight Pac-12 teams, soccer, women's soccer, are ranked right now. They're good.
Afterwards, they're about to reconcile.
They're
going to reconcile. Mark my words.
All right. Well, let's jump right into Do We Care? We're going to switch this up. We love to tackle community issues and not just sports, and ask ourselves, do we care? Well, burglary and hate crimes reported to the University of Arizona Police were up last year, while the number of reported rapes and alcohol arrests and violations were down, according to the 2018 Campus Safety, Security, and Fire Report. Obviously, we care about crime.
We do, but any sort of burglary crime, in my opinion, is absolutely due to self-responsibility. A lock only keeps an honest man out.
Well, self-responsibility.
Self-responsibility.
How can you say that though?
Oh, you leave your car out parked in a very skeptical part of town. Don't leave your laptop in there. Don't leave your jewelry in the car. Self-responsibility.
All right. Burglaries also include people breaking into homes.
Of course. And a lock only keeps an honest man out.
Breaking into homes, not walking into homes. Okay, so that means they're breaking in because the doors are locked. So self-responsibility, come on.
And here's the
you
thing.
Can't blame the victims and say that they're responsible for being a victim.
Everything's taken case by case, but any majority of the time, burglaries are due to self-responsibility. Even on my own end, I've had my apartment broken into. I've had a vehicle
because you didn't lock your doors.
I've had a vehicle
which is
stolen,
what you're criticizing right now.
And it was self-responsibility.
Wow. Okay.
Well, now it's my turn. The FCC is proposing to fine Affordable Enterprises of Arizona, a Tucson-based telemarketing company, $37.5 million. The feds accused the company of hijacking cell phone numbers and using them to create fake caller IDs in violation of the Do Not Disturb law.
Did you get that text message today from FEMA, the emergency alert, the presidential alert?
The country did.
Everyone did. You know what? That's a violation. I didn't want that text message, but in regards to this company here in Arizona, good for the Attorney General's office for going after them. You know why? They actually violated the law 2.3 million times by calling more than 2.3 million people who were on the Do Not Disturb registry. And you know what I say? Find them more, because they're going to settle anyway. But I am glad that the Attorney General, it's a good thing we're only a month out from an election, because now the Attorney General is actually doing something, you know, and going after some people like these stupid
Any sort of phone sales, even if some bylaw gets passed to overturn that, they'll find another way around it.
All right, Border Patrol agent Dennis Dickey has been ordered to pay $220,000 in restitution after pleading guilty for starting the sawmill fire that burned 47,000 acres and caused $8.2 million in damage last year. Dickey was holding a gender reveal party for his wife and shot an explosive device that set off the blaze. Justice?
He
justified?
Might deserve it. I think it is justified. Whether it's a moderate street justice, I think somebody needs to pay for that one.
All right. I think doing something that stupid, you have to know better than that. He deserves to pay all $220,000 of it.
Be a little more safe about it.
All right.
SunTran began using its first 60-foot bus to serve South 6th Avenue, a high ridership route. This is the first articulated bus utilized by SunTran in Tucson. That used to be my route. That used to be my route.
Do we care? I've said this over and over again. I don't care. I don't care because I don't like how SunTran is operated. I think they're too expensive. You want to improve public transportation, then lower your rates, quit going on strike every 2 years. A 60-foot bus that holds 70 passengers in Tucson? When have you seen 70 passengers inside of a bus anyway that only holds 34? I don't get it.
And that's the thing about it, is the South 6 route is the only one that deserves that kind of bus, but still, what is it really going to solve besides alleviating the route?
All right, we're going to move on now. If reports on the dangers of cancer-causing polluted water that was being delivered to thousands of Tucson residents is really overblown, Then the 520 calls on the director of Tucson Water to drink the same tainted water. Tucson Water claims it mistakenly delivered the contaminated water to 60,000 residents. The water department also failed to report to city leaders it was testing the wrong water sources, therefore failed to detect chemicals known as PFCs, commonly used in firefighting foam.
Awful. It's just like in the medical field. Nobody's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. But these guys got a little bit more heavier of a mistake. So there really is no justification for this, more or less. What we're expecting is, how is this not going to happen again?
You know what I'm going to say, flat out, straight out? I would love to see the director of Tucson Water and some of those leaders who say this report is overblown to show up to a city council meeting and drink the damn water. And you know what else I would love to see? The city council to say, you're fired. Just like that. You know why? Because we saw what happened with tainted water back in the 50s when Hughes Aircraft in the city allowed toxic water to be delivered to Southside residents. Only in 2006 have they settled over $130 million, okay, to help these families. Lupus, cancer, hundreds of people have died from it. This is no joke. And to say that it's overblown, try living where there was toxic water. See how quick you're going to test these wells to make sure there's no toxic chemicals inside of them. This is pathetic to say overblown.
I agree.
Fire him, big time. Well, you've heard the phrase, oh, no, you didn't. Well, here at the 520, we're not afraid to tell it like it is with, oh, yes, we did. Despite Arizona being mentioned in the FBI trial, claiming the Wildcats offered to pay a recruit $150,000, there is no doubt in my mind ESPN is raging a war against Sean Miller. ESPN reporter Mark Schlabach, the same unethical reporter who claimed there are FBI wiretaps of Miller talking on the phone about paying DeAndre Ayton $100,000 grand to play at Arizona, wrote a story on the start of the first federal trial, even before the trial started. Schlabach and his editors then chose to use a picture of Sean Miller looking despondent, depressed, and guilty. But Miller is not on trial, nor has he been charged in the investigation. ESPN is trying to double down for the sins of his past reporting on Miller being caught on wiretap with no proof or no evidence to date.
Let me say, though, I understand that news has to sell and you have to find a reason to make it sell, but I think this is a case of Sean Miller making himself an easy target. You and I both don't like him. And let's just say that for all of his dirty laundry is finally starting to catch up to him, and this might be the straw that broke the camel's back, even if he has absolutely nothing to do with it. The university looks to be on his side, but he will never regain the support of the city of Tucson. He might not even regain the support of his players. I think he's an easy target for this entire operation, and somebody has to pay for it.
I'm not going to deny I am not a big Sean Miller fan at all. And I probably never will be. And I understand Sean Miller doesn't have loyalty to the University of Arizona. He doesn't have loyalty to his former assistant coach, who he's yet to call or text, and who faces FBI charges and could face 60 years in prison and pay $1.5 million in fines. So he's not going to have loyalty to Arizona. I get that. But in his defense, ESPN has been negligent in its reporting. And as a journalist, I'm going to vouch for him because I just want fair and accurate journalism. And I think ESPN has been crappy, to say the least.
So, being a completely unbiased person in between all of this, Steve, does Sean Miller owe anything to the sort of justice for the situation, anything that's any negative repercussions that have been called to the University of Arizona? Does Sean Miller deserve to pay for those repercussions?
Yes, but not when ESPN is unfairly attacking him in this regard, because they are implying something that is inaccurate. And if you're gonna report it, then let it be accurate. You know, we've said what we've said, but we're actually providing our opinion. We're voicing our opinion. You know, supported with facts. But at the end of the day, we're giving our opinion when we say he should be fired. We're giving our opinion when we say we don't like him. But when we're giving stats and we're talking about the FBI investigation, we're being truthful. When ESPN is trying to pin him to this without factual information and facts to support their evidence, it's crappy, man. It's unfair. So at least you can give me a little bit of credit for being fair.
I will give you credit. You're
to someone I
to defend journalism and not Sean Miller. Sean Miller got caught in the middle of it.
Yeah. Absolutely
we'll
right.
Call it.
All right, well, before we go, take a look at the video clip of the week. U of A women's soccer player Jill Aguilera launches the ball from 25 feet out. Did you see that? Right into the corner of the net to give the Wildcats a win over Utah 2-1 in the 108th minute of extra time. Look at that.
Lady Cats
rocket
on their
launch.
way up. They're on their way up.
Yeah, I love that song.
Glad to be
on
here
their way up. I could see that play over and over again because that's just so awesome. And it's nice to see the women's soccer team doing so well and getting some love, finally. And we're doing it right here on the 520, baby.
You saw it here first.
Yep. All right, well, that does it for this episode of the 520. Our goal is to tell it like it is because it's all about giving voice to opinions, even if you don't agree.
Be sure to follow the 520 on Facebook and on Twitter at the 520 Tucson.
And if you have a topic you want us to cover, send us an email at the 520@KVOA.com. I'm Steve Nunez.
And I'm Marty Mata IV. Join us next week on the 520.
Go Wildcats, baby.